Hello, and welcome to A Slice of Pie, the semi-weekly news show that we do on this channel. And this week, we're gonna be actually bringing back an old segment. In fact, actually, when I first created Slice of Pie, one of the things that I used to do that for some reason I stopped doing, we're gonna do again. And that is kind of just like an update on the channel that I used to slip right into the front of all the tech and gaming news. Well, it was actually all gaming news back then. So without further ado, let's roll the intro and start with that. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing well and enjoying your weekend. I know this is going to be one of those weird weekends where we're probably not going to get all that many views because, well, there's this thing on TV that if I mention by name, I'm pretty sure I can actually get in trouble by. But digressing a little bit, we actually had a pretty productive couple weeks between episodes. We launched 2 videos. One of them was the Walgreens gaming keyboard, which based off of the feedback I've got, you guys have really liked that one. And we will be doing a follow-up to that one a little bit later. Right now, I'm actually I have something else coming that I'm even more excited about, and it's actually the first real story of this. So yeah. We also did a video about Razer's RGB products that are really weird, and that also relates sort of to another story that we're gonna be talking about today as well. But so Razer has like these RGB mouse bungees, charging pads, and headphone hanging station. And yeah, I bought them all, thanks. If you want, you can actually go check them out. I'm gonna throw some cards up for them and they will be linked at the end of the video for you guys to click. But now, without further ado, let's actually get into the tech and gaming news. Razer is launching, or has launched, the all-analog Razer Huntsman. Now, an analog keyboard is actually something that I've been wanting for a while now. You see, ever since my first Black Widow mechanical keyboard, I've wanted there to be an analog option. And we now have it, and it's really expensive. They did release a one-handed version for $150, but for $250 you can get a full-size keyboard. It does look like it's using the exact same tooling as the Huntsman Elite, but it does look pretty awesome, and I have already ordered it, and it's on its way. It hasn't even made it to like the American distribution centers yet. It's importing, which could mean it may take a little while. It just left Hong Kong now, so maybe in like 2 weeks. But it's really cool, really interesting. I can foresee a few problems that analog keyboards will have to face, but the video is gonna be interesting because it's also gonna be from the perspective of a developer, and I'm gonna show you guys how easy it is to program the analog keys into Unreal Engine. My plan for this video is gonna be very different, so stay tuned for that. Razer, and I'm not buying this one by the way, also launched a Thunderbolt Dock for $350. An RGB Thunderbolt Dock for $350 is ridiculous, but does look pretty awesome. It does have access for 3 additional Thunderbolt ports, which means hypothetically in a situation where you only had a laptop, you could use said dock with an external GPU and probably your peripherals and still daisy chain more Thunderbolt components to it, which is kind of awesome. But at the same time, the number of people who can actually take advantage of a Thunderbolt dock and need to pay that much money for an RGB component are very small, and comparable Thunderbolt docks exist that aren't nearly as expensive. Cooler Master may have actually just designed and is releasing the test bed of my dreams. Now, if it weren't for the fact that unfortunately I still have fur gremlins that I have to deal with, I would be buying this case. And I was originally going to buy it. I was like, I really like this. It's honestly awesome. It's got dual 360 millimeter radiator support in its standard standing configuration. In its test bed configuration, it can store another 360. It's got reservoir support on the side, but you can relocate the reservoir to any of the 360 locations if you have the appropriate mounting hardware, which most of us who water cool do. And it can, as I said, be used as a test bed. It is just nuts. It is everything I would have wanted the P3 to be and more. Problem is, something that still stands from then was the fact that with pets, the amount of hair that I was cleaning out of the PC was actually pretty significant. And more importantly, I've just found out they don't do it when I'm here, but they like to climb on top of dark matter, and I don't want them trying that in an open air system. So we're not gonna be getting that case. But if we move into some sort of a studio, it comes in at only $169, which is cheaper than most test beds. So you get a wet bench functionality for, I think, $100 less than a wet bench, which is absolutely nuts. And I love it. I personally love it. And I would, as I said, I would want it if I weren't dealing with animals. You know what, speaking of Thermaltake though, I do need to call them out on something. Why are you guys stealing designs again? Like, okay, for those of you who may not know, there's a nickname for Thermaltake called Thermal Fake. I was using Thermaltake products when the whole Thermal Fake controversy happened, so I personally was not really a fan of the nickname. But I'm sorry guys, why are you doing it again? This time they copied Noctua pretty much to a T. And yeah, when you put the two fans side by side, it's pretty obvious. And performance wise, they're close to identical. The Thermaltake ones are cheaper, of course, but the problem is it's Noctua, right? Noctua isn't particularly known as a big manufacturer in the space, and Thermaltake is known as a bigger manufacturer. And one of them has a lot more clout than the other, and it would be Noctua, believe it or not. So Thermaltake, it makes you look bad again, because the last time you stole designs, you stole from Case Labs, and Case Labs went out of business. So just note that if you do buy these fans, they are pretty much these other ones, but at the same time, they are black. Which Chromax versions of the Noctua ones are supposedly coming out, which would be the black version anyway. But point is, Thermaltake, you're not helping yourself with this one. I do have a bit of a PSA for you guys. If you are somehow subscribed to this channel, but not Gamers Nexus or Jay's 2 Cents, I do really want to touch on this really quickly. The NZXT H110, the mini ITX version of the NZXT case is a fire hazard. Unfortunately, it's been brought to my attention through Gamers Nexus that it will catch fire over time and it is extremely dangerous. I personally lucked out because I never bought one. I did want to buy one, but there are issues. It's entirely to do with the riser cable. Now you could use a different riser cable in the case if you wanted to, and it would work just fine. But the current riser cable is defective. It is creating a short circuit that could easily start a fire. So NZXT has already issued a recall, and more importantly, there's evidence to say that this will happen over time to most of these riser cables. So just be careful guys. If you are using this case, reach out to NZXT. I believe they're fully going to be reimbursing you guys for it. So they did give a fix of nylon screws, but those are kind of a temporary fix because in all seriousness, if you switch them back to metal screws, you're still going to recreate the short because there's no way to avoid it, unfortunately. So yeah, just be careful. If you've got this case, like, I would recommend moving to something else. Now, I don't really like talking about GPUs as of late because, well, you know, everything going on. Like, the whole reason I haven't done a build video this year is because I haven't been able to buy a GPU. I was trying so hard the other week. But point is, GPU shortages have been pretty bad. But we do have a little bit of GPU news that I want to talk on. The 6700 XT and 6700 and the 6600 XT have all been pretty much confirmed. I don't think AMD has announced them yet personally, but there are trademark filings for Asus and all sorts of different AIBs, which means that we're going to be seeing these cards sooner rather than later. Honestly, not surprising at all. The 5700 XT is no longer available on most sites, meaning the supply has actually dried up, and it's about time for AMD to start introducing the next one. So yeah, look out for that. That's gonna be interesting when it finally drops. Hopefully relieving some of the bottleneck that has happened in production. I mean, one can only hope that we will actually get new GPUs soon. Mark Zuckerberg has let it slip that the next Oculus Quest headset is, well, pretty much nearing the finalization phase. It's actually got a working prototype, which means, honestly, we're going to be seeing the next headset rather soon. Not really surprising. One of the many things that bothers me about the Quest, and which will come up in the review, is how it does the link, and a couple of things involving the screen that I'll explain more in detail in the review. But point is, I'm not really surprised that we're getting a new one. I actually am gonna go out on a limb and say that this isn't actually the Quest 3. I know a lot of people have been like, oh, the Quest is dead, this is the Quest 3. I actually think this is more of a Quest Pro. And the reason I say that is because they're currently discontinuing that, which is the Oculus Rift S, and it is the end of the Rift line. So I know Facebook is currently working towards creating a more powerful headset. And I know that they've kind of like hinted that everything's gonna be forward compatible, but I do think that it's more of a situation of we're getting more of like a Pro versus like a completely new one. Because there are just areas that I know can be improved on, that this one is better at than that one. I'm pointing at the two headsets, by the way, sorry. One's off camera right over there and one's right there. Point is, there's things that the Quest can improve on that I honestly can't wait to see. And then there have been some really interesting developments on like shaking the screen to like get rid of the screen door effect. All sorts of weird things. And I'm very excited to see what happens next. THQ Nordic has bought Gearbox. Well, sort of. The company that bought THQ Nordic out of THQ, THQ Nordic being the ones who make the Darksiders, has just acquired Gearbox. The weirdest part about this is Microsoft actually had a chance to acquire Gearbox and they didn't. More importantly, apparently the publishing is still going to be done by 2K. So Gearbox is still making the games and 2K is still publishing them. So really not much is changing, just that the company is now got a bigger amount of money that they can draw from, which is not a bad thing. Apparently the holding company that does own THQ Nordic is actually quite large. The new Resident Evil game actually looks pretty awesome. It's first person again, this time taking place in a medieval castle. That being said, the thing that people are attaching to is not exactly what the director of the game would have originally wanted them to, but he was willing to play along with a tweet that is rather amazing. So for those of you who don't understand how the internet works, there is this vampire lady. And the internet has done what the internet would do with this vampire lady. And so the director let us know that she's almost 10 feet tall. She's a giant vampire lady. And that has actually probably only contributed to the problem. So yeah, let's just say people are really into the new Resident Evil, even though it hasn't even come out yet. And honestly, it's probably the best marketing Capcom could have had. Ikea has teamed up with Asus to make furniture that is for the gamers. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this one's actually really fun. I kind of like some of the things. There's like a cup holder to attach to your desk, which is useless. A pillow that you can stuff your hands in for reasons. And yeah, just a couple of weird things. But then there's like these like metal panels that you hang on the wall that I actually really dig. Apparently though, Ikea does already sell those, just not that with the ROG on it, which makes me think I may need to take a trip to Ikea, because I could totally do something like that isn't pegboard and it looked unique. I mean, like, imagine that over there. I mean, that wall's pretty done already, but you get the point. Something a little bit different than every other tech YouTuber who's got pegboard. And then finally, I'm gonna end on a very interesting story. Chromebooks and Macs can now use GeForce Now, which means you can actually play AAA games on a Chromebook, which isn't a sentence I thought I'd say in this decade, in this universe even, really. But at the same time, it's actually really awesome. It kind of bypasses like the Mac's stuff by running through a web browser. And more importantly, because it's working on Apple Silicon, they probably can bring it to iPhone and stuff like that, which is what Microsoft has been trying to do with xCloud. Yeah, that thing. Point is though, GeForce Now on Macs and Chromebooks, you can play games on a Chromebook, which is awesome. All right, at that, we're gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can leave a like, comment, subscribe. I do content like this all the time. And if you would like to help us out a little bit, thumbs up actually helps us really well in the algorithm, and also clicking one of the videos at the end cards. Those are the two videos that I actually uploaded this last couple of weeks. So yeah, if you wanna see more from us, you can go ahead and check them out. Thank you guys again. Wolfie out.